The respondent owner wears tactical attire and glorifies violent regime changes in Burkina Faso and Mali. Glorifies violent regime changes in Burkina Faso and Mali. Going ahead, Your Honor, to urge the public participation in a revolution which, according to us, is indicative of ideological radicalization and operational intent. These are alleged affiliation with the FBI movement as captured, Your Honor, in paragraph 12 of the affidavit mirrors the structure and tactics of terrorist cells and organized crime syndicates. The structure and tactics of terrorist cells and organized crime syndicates. Your Honor, the messaging is aimed at stabilizing public institutions members of the same group, some of them have been presented before the Kawa Law Court. Whereby, Your Honor, they exhibited traits of clandestine mobilization and subversive planning, Your Honor. Traits of clandestine mobilization and subversive planning. Your Honor, this reflects hallmarks of organized criminal enterprises and coup plotters. Hallmarks of organized criminal enterprises and coup plotters. Your Honor, who exploit public discontent and militaristic symbolism to undermine governance. Your Honor, these patterns therefore elevate the respondent's actions into a national security threat. These patterns elevate the respondent's actions into a national security threat, Your Honor. Your Honor, under Article 49, 1H of the Constitution of Kenya, 49(1)(h), Your Honor, of the Constitution of Kenya.
Yes.
Under paragraphs 4.9 and 4.11 of the bail and bond policy guidelines, all the three grounds for denial of bond are well captured, Your Honor, in our application. Just briefly, Your Honor, the first one being the nature and seriousness of the charges. Which, Your Honor, is alleged incitement to subversion and potential terrorism, Your Honor. The second compelling reason under public interest, Your Honor, safeguarding democratic institutions. And Your Honor, lastly, security concerns, risk of reoffending and interference in investigations, Your Honor. Your Honor, the third one, security concerns, risk of reoffending and interference with investigations. Your Honor, as I sum up, Section 33 of POTA, Your Honor. Section 33 of POTA mandates judicial restraint where conduct aligns with terrorism or organized destabilization. Judicial restraint where conduct aligns with terrorism or organized destabilization. And therefore, granting bail at this stage will compromise public safety and embolden or organized destabilization. Therefore, granting bail at this point will compromise public safety and embolden extremist networks. Application is therefore justified and necessary to protect national security and uphold Kenya's constitutional values. Thank you. Your Honor, public safety and embolden extremist networks. Therefore, Your Honor, our application is justified as it is necessary to protect national security and uphold Kenya's constitutional values. Thank you.
One is already 722. The first authority in support of our application is the case of Abu Drogo Mohammed and another versus Republic, and then Abu Drogo Mohammed and another versus Republic. It was reported in 2011 Electronic Kenya Law Reports. This is a decision by Justice Fred Ochieng. Then at page 12 of that authority, that allow me to quote the third last paragraph. This is what the judge said, in dealing with the application for bail. That I take judicial notice of what transpired in Kenya after the presidential and parliamentary elections of 2007. That although there was vicious physical assaults, looting, killings, and ejection of people from their homes, they said the actions have unanimously been blamed upon the manner in which various persons used their tongues. They are said to have used their oratory to persuade other persons to carry out the heinous crimes. Therefore, a person may not be in a possession of a machete, a firearm, or any such other weapons. He may be armed with nothing more than his ability, and this is key for us, his ability to influence and persuade other people. Other people. That might make you possibly even more dangerous than the person armed with a gun. Now, the strength of unarmed people was fully appreciated by Mahatma Gandhi when he led the successful silent protests against the colonialists in India. And the judge concluded, Your Honor, that in equal measure, a person who defies a young girl may not have been armed with any gun or knife, but that does not diminish the seriousness with which the society perceives the offense of defilement. Your Honor, our submission is that what you are dealing with right now, Your Honor, is a respondent with an ability, Your Honor, through social media, which was considered by the Honorable Babu of having massive following. And Your Honor, if not used properly, that may have very serious repercussions, including inciting the public, destabilizing the peace, as admitted by my colleagues before, and, Your Honor, putting the Kenya's national security at a risk. And therefore, Your Honor, we urge you to consider that authority, consider the ability of the respondent to influence in allowing our application for custodial for the 14 days that we are seeking, Your Honor. We are most obliged. My colleague Joyce will proceed.
For 14 days. Your Honor, what we are presenting to you is that investigations have been conducted, they are yet to be finalized, and therefore the burden of proof cannot be as after we have charged the case the respondent, Your Honor. Therefore, what we have before you is what the applicant intends to pursue, what the applicant requires to pursue. And that's why, Your Honor, we come to you, praying that you're going to grant us the 14 days so that you can be able to protect the integrity of this investigation. Your Honor, bail and bond policy and also the Constitution provides that an arrested person can be denied bond. And they said grounds are set out clearly. Seriousness of the offense, the likelihood of interference with witnesses. Your Honor, this has been presented to you in form of an affidavit. Under paragraph 16, 1 of the application of the affidavit, Your Honor, the The applicant cites that he is still yet to record statements, and he fears if released on bond, there is likelihood of interference of these witnesses. You know, we have case law that seeks to protect seeks that the bench does protect the integrity of the investigations and any risk of interference of witnesses or interfering with the integrity of the investigation should be taken seriously and bond should be denied. Your Honor, in Republic versus Joktan Mayende and 3 others, at 2012, EKR, Justice Ikonyo, sorry, Your Honor,
Republic versus
Joktan Mayende,
yes.
Your Honor, Justice Ikonyo,
Which year?
2012 EKR, Your Honor. Your Honor, he outlines what amounts to interference of witnesses by quoting, interference with witnesses covers our privilege. It can be immediately on commission of the offense, during investigations, at inception of criminal charge in court, or during trial. Your Honor, what we are submitting right now is that there is likelihood of interference of witnesses during the time of investigations. Your Honor, he further recognizes that there is need to protect state witnesses. There is compelling state interest principle where the state constitutional duty to bring offenders to book should be free from wanton interference of its witnesses and is to be weighed against the right of liberty of the person charged, if that person is being accused of interfering with witnesses. Further, Your Honor, it is therefore a matter of great public interest to allow the course of justice to run without being hindered by any person or group of persons. You know, we have outlined, also defense has mentioned, that the respondent has social media accounts, wide following. Some of these witnesses are among those that are following. Therefore, Your Honor, we need the court to allow us to protect the integrity of this investigation.